The jury has also heard evidence this afternoon from the woman the accused man went on a Tinder date with while Grace Millane's body was still in his apartment. Our reporter Sarah Robson is in the studio now to bring us up to date with the latest. Thanks for joining us, Sarah. Now, what did this woman say in court?
This woman who has name suppression, again, we weren't able to record her. She said she met the man on Tinder, much like the other witnesses we had heard from earlier this week. She said she had matched with him a couple of weeks earlier, and they'd been messaging on the morning of December the 2nd, and they had arranged to meet up in Ponsonby for a drink later that afternoon. Now, this is at the same time that Grace Millane's body was still lying in the accused man's apartment. Now, this woman told the court that after they had a normal old conversation after they met up, she gave him a hug when she got to the bar, went inside and grabbed a drink. She said the man had told her that he was from Australia and had come over to New Zealand to look after his sick grandmother. Now, she asked him how he was making friends in Auckland, and the man told her that he was friends with lots of police officers, which she said she thought was a little strange. The man went on to tell her that he had a background in sales, talked about his job previously as a sales manager for Woolworths in New South Wales, which she thought was fairly impressive for such a young guy. Now, she said she was asking a lot of the questions. He wasn't so interested in what she might have had to say, but she did ask him what he had been doing that day. He said that he had spent the day looking for a large duffel bag with wheels for his sports gear, and he had struggled to try and find one and had actually been to a couple of places to try and get that. She asked him where he lived. He said he lived in the City Life Hotel. She was surprised that you could actually live in a hotel. He also mentioned that he had a best friend who was coming to New Zealand to work as a Crown prosecutor. Now, it was at this point that the woman finally decided she could get a word in on this date, and she mentioned that she had sat in on a murder trial at some point and saw a 21-year-old man who was convicted of murder jailed. She talked to him about how sad it was to see that happen and how sad it was to see the victims in court. Now, it was at this point that the man told the story about he'd heard of a guy who had asked his girlfriend to have rough sex, and that involves strangulation and suffocation, and the man told the story that somehow this had gone wrong and the woman had died, and he ended up going to jail for manslaughter.
So did the woman say how she reacted to that story? Yeah,
she said that this made her feel uncomfortable, and she quite quickly changed the subject. Now, she was asked by the Crown lawyer how he appeared as he was telling this story, and she said he was intense, but he seemed really calm as he told it, and that he had empathy for this man. She also described how at one point he had talked about how his friends who were police officers were having quite a tough time at the moment because there were lots of bodies going missing in the Waitakere Ranges, and issues that police dogs couldn't sniff out bodies from graves no deeper than 4 feet. Now, this woman only spent about an hour and a half with the man, and they parted ways. She said he apparently gestured where his car was parked. Her car was actually parked a similar way, but she felt so uncomfortable that she decided to head in a different direction. Now, she was asked... The man messaged her with a follow-up later on and asked, that was a great time, be nice to see you again. And she actually responded and said, no, thank you.
So these Crown witnesses, how far through are we with the Crown case, and do we have any idea when we might start hearing from the defence?
Not entirely sure of the scheduling yet, but we are very much drawing to a close with the Crown case. We've heard from another couple of witnesses this afternoon who had interactions with the accused man on that afternoon as well.
Thanks, Sarah. Sarah Robson covering that case. That is the murder trial of Grace Millane.